Quietly Hostile is the fifth book by Samantha Irby, and it is truly a love letter to all people who have embraced the power of not giving a fuck what anyone thinks. Her hilarious collection of essays gives us a peek into what Irby's life looks like after the world shut down and left her to take a swan dive into an ocean of QVC merchandise. Samantha opens up about her undying and unwavering love for the Dave Matthews Band, gives a point-by-point analysis of what will make for the best porn storyline, and reveals the drama that happens in the comments section of the New York Times Spelling Bee app. Stay with us for another episode of the Vulgar Geniuses podcast. Are you currently looking for a bookstore that has a great selection of books? Well, Kizzy's Books and More is that bookstore. Visit www.kizzy'sbooksandmore.com to purchase your next book for our book club. Use coupon code VulgarGenius to receive 10% off the subtotal of your first order. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Vulgar Geniuses podcast. We are your hosts.
My name is Denny.
And I am Veronica. And today we are joined. This is like, I feel like Thanos, like we got the Infinity Stone. We'll explain that later.
We're stalkers.
Yes.
We're stalkers of this person.
Yes. But we have none other than the incomparable Samantha Irby. Samantha Irby is a writer whose work you can find on the internet. Her New York Times bestseller, Quietly Hostile, is the recent release title of her fifth book of essays and was our nonfiction pick for the month of June. When she isn't writing her hilarious books, she keeps her followers entertained with her blog, Bitches Gotta Eat, with her recaps of Who's on Judge Mathis and other sad garbage. Welcome to the show, Samantha. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really great. Thank you for that bio, which was very generous. You could have stopped at Samantha Irby writes things on the internet, and I would have been like, yeah, that's it.
That's exactly
She does it very well, though.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's very sweet.
So
No, I was just going to say, I don't know that there's anything else to say about me as a person. So let's get into it.
Well, we have a lot of questions to find out if there's anything else to say about you as a person and as a writer. Well, I'm going to pass it off to Denny, and she's going to lead this discussion.
Yeah, we start with some get to know you questions. We start off the bat. What is your most favorite purchase that you bought on QVC?
I promise I won't go too crazy. Mock neck. It's like a heavy fleece mock neck kind of turtleneck with 3/4 sleeves. It's black. It was from Isaac Mizrahi Live. I know exactly where it is in my closet. I mean, I couldn't tell you my social security number, but I do know where my Isaac Mizrahi mock turtleneck 3/4 sleeve shirt is.
Do you wear it like for special occasions, or is it just whenever?
No, it's just a regular piece of clothing, but I could dress it up. Like if I wore it with black pants. I mean, the thing about sort of dressing like you're going to bed every day is that you can sub in things without anyone knowing if it's actually pajamas or is that really clothes. And it's one of those things where it's like nice enough to go to dinner, but also if you're just sitting around at home, it's perfect.
Nice.
It sounds very
QVC needs to cut me a check.
A big one.
Yes.
Come on. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a devoted QVC faithful till death.
What makes you genuinely laugh out loud?
Oh man, I love memes. Like, oh, I really am always chuckling at my phone. But that's a boring answer. There are lots of shows that make me laugh. That's also like kind of a standard answer. Here's a weird answer. I love, this is so stupid and niche, to go on the New York Times app, do the spelling bee, and then laugh at people fighting in the spelling bee comments.
There are
Right?
comments.
Oh yes, you have to find them. It's truly like your Uncle Richard, never Dick, never Ricky, never Rich, your Uncle Richard arguing with people about what is a word, what shouldn't be a word, what should be allowed. It gets heated sometimes. There are regulars, like there are people who are like, where's Jen E today? And I'm like, yeah, where is Jenny? It's incredible. Very low stakes, right? Because they're never gonna be like, cussing each other out or like threatening to murder each other. It's all like one from today. I saw this was like not a real fight, but some guy was complaining about a word not being in the puzzle. And then some guy commented below him and said, why don't you check your spelling lest you embarrass yourself? And I was like, what? Slapboxing in the spelling bee comments is my favorite thing to giggle at.
This is a shock for me because I've been paying money for this motherfucking app and I did not know that there was a comment section.
Oh, okay. Here's where you find it. So if you're on the spelling bee, you go to it's like where it says more, and you click the little drop down, and then you click on the hints. And if you go all the way down to the bottom of the hints page, or I think it may even just pop up there, there's a little like word bubble, and you click that, and it leads you to Shangri-La, the place where fucking humanities professors fight with each other over like whether proper nouns should be allowed or recognized by the bee.
Tomorrow I'm going there tonight right after this interview.
They better watch out. They better watch out.
It's great. It's like civilized, there's no cussing, there's no, but people really do get so mad, and it's great.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Oh, my pleasure. Oh, I hope it never goes away.
So you write for this TV series, and just like that.
Yeah.
How do you write a character that is not like physically there? For example, Stanford and or Samantha.
Well, I haven't gotten a chance to write anything like specific for them. They haven't been acknowledged in my episodes. Samantha, we were texting her first season, and I was like, let's not do that. So there is no texting of her. Not that it was only my call, but I was on the let's do away with the text side of things. And she gets a little cameo in this season, which I don't know why she spoiled it, but you're gonna see her. Also, I'm pretty sure I know why she spoiled it. And with Stanford, I mean, it's so fucking sad. My episode in season 1 originally had a scene with everybody at brunch, and Stanford was at the table, and he had a whole arc planned for the first season, but then he got sick and couldn't do it. So you're gonna see in season 2, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's sort of like a gracefully putting Stanford to bed moment. I mean, that one was nuts because like truly no one knew, no one was anticipating it until it was time. And then it's like, okay, all right, we got to rewrite, we got to come up with a whole new thing. So, but that's like, there's no acrimony, obviously, there, but we did want to keep his memory alive, but also like still have things be funny and stupid. So you'll see there's a good scene with Anthony and Carrie coming up where we sort of like take care of Stanny.
Okay.
How's your favorite dog though?
First of all, ugly, stinky, dumb. He is currently this little dude. I mean, my friend Emily gave me a Pendleton blanket, like expensive, right? Like that's a nice thing to give to a person. And it's very like squishy and soft and comfy, and it's beautiful. The dog, who weighs 11 pounds, has commandeered this king size blanket. He has made it into a nest, and he like, circles until like it's, stamped down just like he likes it. And he is currently wrapped up or curled up like a little cinnamon bun in the middle of this very expensive blanket that now no humans use because it's like covered in dog ass. He's the worst. This morning I went to take him to school, to daycare where he stays 3 times a week so he can run. And this dude, I didn't know the garage door was open, so I opened the house to go into the garage. He sees that the garage door is open. He takes off. He doesn't want to come back. He just wants to run around the neighborhood. But luckily, Kirsten was out front. And like when I backed the car out, he loves going in the car. So when I backed the car out, he was like, oh, okay, I'll go with her, I guess. But if I hadn't, he would still be running. He would still be running. He is the worst. Oh my God. And I spoil him. So I make him even worse. And he doesn't give a shit about me. If I died in front of him, he would be like, well, whatever, is white mom still alive? And like, that's who he cares about. Oh, long story long, fuck that dog. He's chilling in the other room, sleeping, tired after his long day of playing. I hope that's why we send him to the damn school, so he can get tired.
But he probably would hear this conversation and be like, she's fawning over me again.
He's probably in the other room like, when is this bitch gonna eat dinner? I'm hungry. Because that is the one thing I'm the only one who feeds him from the table. So if I have a meal, he's like, oh, we're having dinner? Great.
What's on the menu tonight?
No, for real. For real. He's like, what did we get delivered? Yum, yum.
So at the top of the hour, I said that we got our 5th Infinity Stone. And so I'm going to give some backstory into that. Okay. In December of 2020, we sat down to talk to Disha Filia about her book, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies. And when we got to the point of the interview where we asked our guests to share their top 5 books of all time, she flipped the question. And she has changed it for the rest of time, which is by giving us the top 5 books that she was extremely excited about. And you are our 5th book. We have collected all the Infinity Stones.
Oh, that's so great. I love Disha. That's my girl.
Yeah, she talked so much about your friendship and your amazing lipstick collection and the Tom Ford lipsticks that you had sent her that very week that we talked to her. Will you share with us how this friendship among writers formed and what it means to be the lipstick connoisseur of the friend group?
Well, again, you are being very generous to me, which I appreciate. I met Disha, pretty sure, because I'm old now and all I do is get stoned, so I have no brains. But I'm pretty sure Disha and I met like a decade ago on Facebook. Somebody put the two of us in a Black women writers group, and it was me, Disha, Lovey Ajayi, Deneen Milner, oh man, Tarana Burke. Like, I'm gonna feel like an asshole because I can't recall these names as quickly, so it sounds like I don't know who is in there. But anyway, so it's people like that in this group. I definitely felt like completely overwhelmed, like, by being in the group. I would never say literally anything because I was like, oh my god. Now I like feel confident because I've sold a few books, but back then I was like, I'm just gonna lurk. and Disha and I mean, I don't even know, we just started talking to each other, and she's so great. I am still friends with everybody in the group. I deactivated my Facebook a few years ago. But we're all still in touch, and they're like amazing women. And I want to disabuse you of the notion that we were like talking craft or writing. It was all like bullshit, gossiping and talking shit. It was the best. It was like group chat before the group chat.
Nice.
And Disha and I have been cool ever since. As for being the lipstick person, I do love a cosmetic. I have none on. I wish I'd put something on so I could practice what I preach. I just, when you don't have kids, you can buy lipstick.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, and it's I'm very much a, like, if I buy this, it'll fix my day kind of person. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm having a bad day, it's like, I'm not going to call anybody. I'm going to get on Sephora.com.
Yes.
And I am not afraid to try any lipstick. I'll wear anything. I don't care. And so over the years of like just buying lipsticks that are cool and not caring how expensive they are and what a waste it is, I have come to figure out all the good brands. And so when Disha's book came out and it was everywhere and everyone loved it, I sent her some Tom Fords to celebrate. Although that is not my favorite brand, is Lisa Eldridge. Like, that bitch can make a lipstick. I shouldn't call her a bitch, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I did for Disha for her books and her some lipstick.
Yeah. So before I was a mother to a little boy, that was my thing. It was blushes.
Oh, I love a blush.
And lipsticks. I could be barefaced, but this would be on point. So just so you know, this is a filter from Zoom.
Oh my God.
It's not real.
And it might jump between us. It's not my shade.
It hasn't, but it looks good. You just look like you have a natural flush and a just bitten lip, that kind of thing. It looks good. I would have never known.
Yeah,
I would have never known.
Because in trying to be cute for this interview, I was trying to get ready and I was trying to shave my beard. Okay.
Oh, mine is my mustache. I get the chin hairs every morning. I have one
too right here.
But the mustache listen, past a certain age, it's just like, sorry, I'm just gonna look like a hairbrush about the neck area. And like,
yes, but I had
like
to cover
it or
it
don't,
up.
There's nothing I can do about it.
I had to cover it up because like my 3-year-old son was like, "Mommy," and then like the razor blade, I nicked myself.
Oh,
So here we are.
okay, well, here's something, some solidarity, or no, commiseration. When the first season of And Just Like That premiered, there was a big premiere in New York, and they yelled at me until I decided to go. And I didn't know we were gonna have to walk the red carpet because, like, we're writers, right? I thought like we'd go through a back entrance. So I basically looked like I fucking look right now, like black hoodie, black pants. I wore a bunch of like cool necklaces, but really it wasn't a red carpet. I wore flip-flops. I mean, just like disgusting. But the best part is that beforehand, I was like shaving my like menopause beard and like cut my fucking throat and had a huge like thing on my neck and had to like, be interviewed by Vogue. Like Anna Wintour was sitting behind us, and like I have a big like old lady beard skid mark across my neck. It was a fucking nightmare. So
Well, did she have on her shades? Maybe she didn't see it.
She did have on her shades, and she was sitting between Uma Abedin and Victor Garber. It was like a chic little. I was like, God damn, they let us in here, and they're like, we shouldn't have let you in here, but okay.
Samantha, when did
I was
you
like, what is this,
funny?
the Met Gala? And they're like, not if you're here.
It could have been the Met.
Home chic. That's the thing.
Yes. Comfortable chic. QVC sponsored chic.
Yeah. They're like, where's your outfit from? And I'm like, Farm and Fleet, Have you ever heard of Dick's Sporting Goods? That's where I got this.
When did you know that you were funny? And when did you know that you could make a living out of this, talent of yours?
Well, let me answer the second question first. I still am not 100% sure how long I can make a living at this. Being in the arts is tenuous at best. I'm doing all right now, but I'm always like, if I have to be a checkout girl at Trader Joe's, I'll get right back in there and do it. I'll iron my Hawaiian shirts. Like, I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And also I grew up in super, super poverty. And my parents are old. Well, they were when I was born, they were old, 40 and 50, and Black. And there was no like, oh yeah, oh, you have an artistic talent, you should nurture that and try to get paid for it. It was like, no, get a job. You need to have a job. So I had a job until like 7 years ago, and that's when I moved to Michigan to get married to my wife, and then like kind of started doing creative stuff only. So it hasn't been long enough for me to be like, I'm really secure. I'm really secure in this writing thing. It's really going to take me far. It's going to sustain me forever. Like, I'm always waiting for them to be like, bitch, 4 is enough. You know what I mean? Like, like we've heard, oh, you're still nervous all the time. Okay, we've heard enough. So I will never get comfortable enough to be like, this is gonna take care of me forever. Like, I'm too practical. I've grown up with too much bad shit. I know how you could be on top one day and on the bottom the next. So I'm just trying to maintain. And if my agent's like, no, they don't ever want anything from you again, then I will be at Walgreens like opening the secret cigarette hatch for people. As for when did I know I was funny, I think I was a super precocious kid, which is annoying. Nobody really likes a kid who talks too much and like thinks they're too clever. So I was a very annoying child. And then, but I think like in high school or I've always been like entertaining. I've always wanted to make people happy or make people laugh. Like that is what I can give the world. I'm not going to cure any diseases, but I can make people laugh. That's my gift. But again, it was just like, you know, cracking jokes in class, like goofing off, that kind of thing. I didn't start like performing my work until like 2008. And that's when I really knew like I could move a crowd of people to laughter. And that's like when I kind of got serious about at least chronicling my life on my blog to make people laugh. So not long for most of this, you know.
Don't worry, I'll write them. I'll be like, "What's up, vintage books? When's the next book coming out?" You know.
But vintage, I mean, to their credit, they are thrilled with me. They would love it if I would turn in a book every year. They'd be like, okay. I do have a manuscript due in 11 months. So
Yay!
I'm not going to start working on it for 10 months, but I do have another book in the pipeline.
Well, we got to trust that.
And it's a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit different this time.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. So, you know, to us, you sound very authentic, and I think every writer that we talk to strives to be that. You know, you're always intentional, you're very relatable, and you're not laced with like bullshit. How do you manage to translate like, you know, this self to like a page? And
you know what, I really write the way I talk. And I kind of write in a stream of consciousness style. Like I'll know what I'm going to write about. And then I just sit down and kind of go on and on and on, and then let my editor deal with it. But I want my books, or not even everything I work on or write or whatever, I want it to feel conversational. I'm much more of a, and this is no knock to people who do this, but there are people who sort of write from a perch where they're like, you will listen to me. I'm making this magical thing. You need it. You need to pay attention to it. I decree that this is my work and you will benefit from it. And there are people who do that. I don't do that. My approach is more like looking around as we're all like swimming in diarrhea and being like, this sucks, right? And so I think just because my intent is to always be like nudging someone and being like, this is weird, right? Or whatever it is. It comes from a place of like, we're the same and you probably hate this thing that I hate too. I think it keeps it relatable, but also it's real. Like if I know stuff, I'll talk about it, but there's a lot of stuff I don't know, and I don't fake it. Like I'll be like, oh, okay, I'm not going to tackle that, but I'll tackle this, which I do know. But I'm not like teaching, or I don't have a message or anything like that. I just want to make people laugh. And so I think I sort of think of like what I do as like kind of like a bar story, but elevated, you know, like if we were on a first date, this is the kind of thing I would say to you to make you laugh.
You need to like turn that into a class that I can take so I can find me somebody to be able to like lure them in with a story. Like that would be
Oh,
a great class.
how
I
to
would
tell
do
a
this. You
story
go find
over
me
a
somebody.
drink. I mean, you know what's funny is like a couple weeks ago, our ugly, horrible dog got out while my stepkid and I were at the grocery store. We didn't know. We came home and I saw him sitting in the driveway and was like, oh no. Cursed. I don't know where she was. She was out. So then she gets home, you know, we get him, everybody's safe. I like saw my life flash before my eyes because what it turns out he had clawed his way through the screen door and jumped out.
Okay.
I wish he would no, I wish he would have gone to live with someone else, frankly. I wish he would have been like, oh, this is what it's like at other people's houses. Goodbye. Um, but when Kirsten came home, it was like time to tell the story of what happened. And my stepkid was like, you tell it. And like in an instant, I put together a beginning, a middle, and end. I built up the tension. I knew where the stomach dropping climax was. And it's just, I don't know, it is a thing that comes naturally to me to like experience something and quickly in my mind like package it to tell as a story to someone else.
That's truly a gift. That's a gift.
Yeah.
And I think
I don't know where it came from either. I just like, I mean, maybe because, you know, my setup is almost, I think of like what I do almost as like an extended stand-up set, right? Where like that I love stand-up, old stand-up. And I've watched so much of it. And I think that's a good way to learn storytelling is like to watch the structure and setup of a long form joke. And it comes easily to me. I'm very lucky. I'm lucky considering that this is what I decided to do for a job.
And I'm glad that you did. I know that it started with your blog out on MySpace, which for the young ones at home that's listening, MySpace was a place that was like void of political strife, and the only drama was who made it to your top 8.
Yes.
So as you have seen the digital landscape of sharing your life change over the years, with how you put out your information, do you see that blogs and newsletters are making like a comeback in the midst of like the censoring and shadow banning, like on places like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter? And then my follow-up would be, if MySpace were to return, who would be in your top 8 that would help cause all of the drama
and the music playing in the background? That's very important.
Okay. Well, I would tell you, I like to I'm going to answer these questions all out of order.
That's fine.
I like to set my social media, like, you know, whatever it is, like background, and then just leave it. Like my Instagram description has been 3 toilet emojis, I think, since I joined Instagram. So with that in mind, my MySpace song would be what it was back when I had MySpace. And that would be Shake That Ass by Bangers and Cash. Shake that ass, bitch, and let me see what you got.
Yes.
I'm much too hard to waste my shit on some skinny ass bitch with A cup tits. That was my shit then. It continues to be my shit now. So that would be my song. My top 8. Okay. This is going to sound fucked up, but at this stage in the game, I would likely make my top 8 people who were like impressive or cool looking. So my cool looking friends would be in the top 8. So maybe not like my bestest friends who look kind of plain. I'm trying not to offend anyone, but I would be my most beautiful friends.
Okay.
Yep. So that, but I would not start a blog these days. I feel like for me, the kind of stuff I mean, it's just now everybody's like a digital policeman, right? Like you can't sneeze without somebody telling you you're doing that wrong and like what your problem is. I'm like, no way. I would not start that now, but back then it was really great. The internet was different then.
It was
the good
very
old days.
different.
And as for newsletters and blogs, I hope they're coming back. A thing that has really been tough for me over the last like few years is you don't know what's real on the internet. And I don't want to have to investigate my news. It's like I want to see Tom Brokaw and know that what he's saying is a real thing, right? Like remember when it used to be like that, when like you didn't get the news plus opinions. Like I don't need my news delivered like sassily with a like, do you believe that? Like you know what I mean? I don't. I would just like some news. And so since it's so hard to know who's doing what, I think reading newsletters where you just, or blogs, whatever, where you pick this person, and whether it's like news based or not, it's like, I like this person, I trust this person, I don't have to read assholes replying to people. Because I mean, I've been off Twitter for a few years, but it's still, even if you found a good person to follow, you would then see their reply guys being assholes or like poking holes in whatever they're tweeting. And like the lack of nuance and the lack of sort of generosity, like nobody gets the benefit of the doubt. And I get it in some instances because there are lots of bots and whatever, but then there are real people who are reporting the news and people are like, rah, rah, rah. So I think for me, like the newsletter and blog resurgence has been good because I can just choose what I want to read and kind of get off and stay off the platforms that are just like a fire hose of shit you have to figure out whether or not it's real.
Your opening chapter of your book, I like it. It sets the tone for the entire essay collection, and it introduces yourself to readers who are encountering you for the first time. So I was wondering, when you sat down to write this book, was this essay about being unapologetic about whatever made you happy, regardless of those who question your opinion? Was it the diving board from which you wrote the rest of the book, or was this something that just came throughout the next process?
This was later. I write things however I'm going to write them, and then my editor picks the order. So I was going to say rarely. I think I could fight her if I was interested, but I'm not. So she picks the order. Who cares? I'm like, listen, you're the expert. You put it in order. So that I wrote because I was pissed off at that lady about the dry cleaning. That is the one thing I miss in my blog, is if I have like a, something that happens to me on the day that's maybe not big enough to go in a book, but is big enough to make me furious. So I sat down and wrote that because I just was so mad at this silly bitch for like trying to get an apology from me for literally nothing. And so like while thinking about that, I was like, we live in a culture where everyone expects you to apologize and atone for things like the gas station that they went to was too expensive and you told them that's where to go. You know what I mean? I just find myself all the time explaining things, and part of it is my nature because I'm deferential and I'm all super apologetic all the time. But like, it just is such an exhausting way to be. And I was like, I'm just going to say I like shit. You think the books I'm reading are dumb? Fine. I mean, and there's another piece of like when you're like a public person. I mean, people are always, now I figured out how to close my DMs, but I would get messages from people who are like, why are you following X? And it would be like nothing, I'm not following like Nazis or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, no one truly dangerous. No one's like, hey, Sam, Ted Kaczynski, you might want to unfollow. You know what I mean? It's like nothing serious. It's like, hey, that influencer is problematic. And it's like, well, oh yeah, well, I like the way she puts on face cream. Like, what the fuck do I care? And so I think all of that had built up this sort of like mini ecosystem of people who just patrol what other people post and like and read. It's a weird, and I know it's not new, but it's changed, but we just live in such a weird time of like, does that person approve of this thing that I'm doing that doesn't affect them at all? And it's like, who gives a fuck? Like, I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just gonna do what I want. So basically, that was like a reminder to myself to stop saying sorry for shit I didn't do.
It's my favorite chapter.
Oh,
and, I mean, next to the nun chapter is definitely my favorite.
That's a whole podcast.
That's a whole podcast. That chapter
I'm going on a Catholic podcast to talk about that. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'm gonna listen. This will be the first time I'm gonna listen. Just
kidding. I would burst into flames the minute my mic connected. They'd be like, "Oh, no, smite her," and then out of here.
When you write certain things about your life, people always assume like, oh, I know everything about Samantha Irby now. How do you maintain that private life in a public space?
Well, because, or not because, how do I maintain it? I do keep some things to myself. I know it seems ridiculous to say that because I really do say so much. But I do keep personal things that I don't want, America to sort through. I keep that stuff to myself. I also have become like pretty guarded with my relationships, like with my friendships and stuff. I don't write about other people in my life as much. And that keeps, one, just, I don't want to like trespass on anyone's like boundaries or whatever, but also it keeps those relationships about me and the person rather than like, hey, I'm going to write about Jesse, everything Jesse and I do together. I'm going to say, and then they will know Jesse. And that, you know what I mean? So there's like a little distance, and like, I'll write about my wife, but in kind of like a caricature sort of way so that she like maintains some privacy too. I think it's little things like that. I also little things like, not, I don't ever post videos really, or I don't make videos. I don't like just keeping enough walls up that I'm like, yeah, I'm a person who makes things and you can buy them or read them or whatever, but also I have like a life away from this. Like I don't post every day, you know. I try to take breaks from the internet, because like in your real life, I mean, I don't know if you guys would agree with this, but like when you like turn your phone off, it just is sort of like you're in a different world now.
Yeah.
Like today I turned my phone off. We went to see that movie Joyride, which was so good and so funny. I'm obsessed with everyone in it. I have been like looking at their IMDb pages all day. That's how you know you like a movie, when you're like, what the fuck else is this bitch in? I must watch it all tonight. But like I think when I kind of like, you know, pull my brain, like unsuction it from the phone, it's like, yeah, I'm a real person. No one knows what I'm doing. Like all the people I know live in my phone, and none of them knows that I'm at the movies right now, and that's okay. Like I think sort of having a healthy distance between, and it took a while, right? Like I got off Facebook a few years ago, I got off Twitter a few years ago, I just have Instagram, and it's like, you know, at first it's like, oh, you're gonna miss something, and then it's like, what? I don't miss anything that matters. You know, if something big happens, I'll get a push alert from the New York Times or Apple News or whatever. Like it's okay to not move at the speed of the internet, and that makes me feel like, because you know, there are like, and good for them, they're making their money, they're doing whatever, like influencers on TikTok and shit where they're posting like multiple videos a day. That to me is much scarier, like if I were to do that, than to like write a curated story about a thing that happened and I decide what's in it and what you know and whatever, rather than just like kind of having my camera open to the world at all times. That to me is much scarier than being like, you know, when I masturbate, I use this hand. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
It's like very different from like, watch me drink this milkshake. Then watch me shit it out. Like you know. No, I'm too old. I love that the kids are communicating with each other this way. It couldn't be me.
Yeah, because like as a Libra, I'm very like, it's very hard to open up that thing. You know, I'm always afraid of judgment. You know,
me too.
We're afraid to be embarrassed. I say we because she's also a Libra, and we overthink. So I'm like, you know, like we were just so amazed, like, you know, how is Samantha Irby able to be like, fuck everybody else, I'm gonna write about the two nuns, and I don't give a shit about anybody, what everybody would think.
Well, I just write what I want always, and then hope that my editor is happy with it. I don't often think about an audience reaction, because you know what makes it easy is I don't host a forum for anyone to tell me what they think.
Right.
So like there's no comment sections on anything. I mean, you could comment on my Instagram, but it would be weird to be like, I hated your fucking book, like on a picture of the dog or whatever. And even then, if people hate it, that's okay, as long as I got that sweet $1.25 or whatever my cut is from that cheap ass paperback book. But yeah, I mostly just think about what I want to write about and what I can write about. Like, do I have 2,500 words on this? No, I'm not writing it. Yes, you get the nun essay. You know, I just write to delight myself. And then if other people like it too, it's like, oh, okay, that's something. But mostly I try to make me happy without thinking about what people are going to think, especially because like I'm not going on Goodreads, I'm not looking at Amazon reviews, none of that. If people hate it, I'll never know it unless they come to my home and tell me. Like I have the only contact information I have on my website are my agent's emails, and I'm like, you want to write to Kent and tell him I'm a big piece of shit? Great. He's never going to tell me about it. So I have protected myself as much as I can from like the casual vitriol of like, a random book reader, and that makes it easy. And like, I get enough positive reinforcement that it's like, well, I'm gonna keep doing it. 6 weeks on the bestseller list. I'm gonna write a non-porn essay every week. If that's what the people want, that is what they shall get.
That chapter had me cackling because I was telling Denny, I was like, this chapter is special. The book is special for me because I already feel like we both were like living in the multiverse and our timelines have finally like crossed. Because I'm like, I know this bitch ain't out here writing my life. Like, is she stalking me right now? Because I've never been able to have a conversation with anybody about like, these are my ideas about what I think porn should be and what I don't like about it. Because a lot of people just they don't watch it. They're uncomfortable talking about it. So I'm like, I just keep it to myself. And then you wrote this essay and I'm like, this is it. Because I'm like, for me as a Black woman, I'm watching these things and I'm seeing Black women, but they're always like on a sofa or they're like in some other place. And I'm like, my dream porn would be them in like a king size bed. Like when it's done, they can just fall asleep right there. Yes. Like they can just be comfortable. And I don't ever find that. So when you're writing,
I can't do the couch either. It's too much. Also, if like truly, if they do not look like they were born in 1940, I can't. That
had me dying because I'm like, I don't want nobody in my computer. I don't want to go to jail today.
Okay. Even just scrolling, as soon as I see like a pigtail and fake braces, I'm like, oh, FBI, where's the FBI? What? I'm about to get arrested. No. My search history, everything says mature. Like, fuck that shit.
Because that's what we are.
You fucked your stepdaughter? I'll never know because I'm scrolling past that.
No.
That's between you and your God.
That can't. That's like double hell if you get caught. Doing that. No, I can't even. It'll be just my lucky day that the FBI agent monitoring my phone is like, well, let's see what Sam's looking at, and then it's like, a girl in pigtails and an 80-year-old man. 80-year-old European. I don't even know what he's saying to her. He's probably calling her like daughter. I can't do it.
So I had truly a moment of reckoning as I read your chapter, David Matthews' Greatest Romantic Hits. So let me tell you why.
Okay.
I always view the Dave Matthews Band as like the South African version of Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. But you helped me to see the light. You did.
I mean, that's not wrong.
But you reminded me of the songs that like I knew in my heart were hits and it made me instantly like revisit like 1996. I was there.
Mhm.
I when I got to that chapter, I was like, okay, let me go to title. Come on, let's go through the list. And I'm listening to these songs. I'm like, oh my God, these are really good songs. He
They're
does have a
so
great
good.
voice.
He does have a great voice.
He has a beautiful voice. People like to, and I get it. I mean, come on. He has like fiddles in his music. I understand the urge to like
Also the truth.
clown his Pied Piper ass songs. But when you listen, it's like, no, this shit is good. This dude, he's good.
Yeah.
And he's so romantic and sweet.
How did you first hear? Do you remember when you first heard
Yeah,
him?
1993. I was in the grass outside of the band room. This was before before school started. We had to come early to start marching band. So that we could be ready by the time football season started. And I was sitting in the grass, and my friend Adrian gave me a copy of Under the Table and Dreaming on CD, and that was it. 1993 till forever.
Till forever. So this is no shade to anybody that has followed this wellness routine by Gwyneth Paltrow. But I feel like your essay on Chubb's street diet was in defiance and was the great equalizer. Because she came out with this, what do you eat in a day? And she was like, oh, I intermittent fast until noon, and I eat a bone broth. And then an hour later, I do an
good for her if that works.
And then a sauna, and then veggies at night. And I'm like, bitch, you're bulimic. What the fuck?
I mean, I sort of look any of that like celebrity stuff. I try to have empathy because the pressures on them to stay rail thin are incredible. Like, just imagine, like, you don't get to be fat ever, right? Like her parents were directed. She does not, even the like, I'm 50 now, let me get a little bit of a dump truck ass, let me like start eating cheese. Like, when you're famous, you don't get to have baby weight. She's had a couple of kids. You don't get to have shit. So I do feel empathy for people in that position. I mean, to a point. I think for me, when it's like, oh, regular people can do this too, that's where you cross a line, because like it's expensive and impractical, and I don't like that shit. It just makes people feel bad. Right. Whatever she wants to do for herself, fine. The rest of us, drinking a Starbucks in the car while trying to like shove some fruit in our mouths at the same time, like that's who I write for.
Yes, we're still going to Red Lobster tomorrow.
oh good choice.
Speaking of Red Lobster, we live in Orlando, so this is like ground zero. This is the home ground of Darden, which gives us Red Lobster and Olive Garden, these corporations. And I specifically remember, like, in the early 90s, like Olive Garden being that place that you went to the night of prom with your date. Like, it was very fancy, and you go in there with your dress and you have endless soup and pasta and all that stuff and salad. So I was just curious, like, how often do you find yourself returning to these types of restaurants that understands what it means to give the feeling of luxury without hurting the bank account?
I don't go super often, only because they're not like close. But I have been to Olive Garden within the last few months. It was delicious as ever. I love to go at lunch. It's nice to have a sit down lunch that doesn't cost $1 million. I'm really grateful to places like that like a little kid could go and feel like they're getting a special magical super fancy thing, but as an adult too, it's just, I mean, there's something nice about reliable food. You know how it's going to taste. I mean, not to get all whatever about it, but as a person with like bowel troubles, it is nice to know that what I ordered yesterday is going to be the same as it was as whatever's coming out today, like the consistency of the product. So I'm never going to shit on a chain restaurant. I love them.
Especially when they got like the Cheddar Bay biscuits and the endless
Yeah.
garlic bread. Like, just bring it. Bread, you got me right there. Like,
Yes.
okay, I don't need nothing else.
Yeah.
So, you're out here making all the girlies clutch their pearls for the biggest plot twist smack dab in the middle of season 1 of And Just Like That. How much fun was it to write that hilarious episode when Miranda and Che finally like get together?
Oh, it was, I mean, it was really great. It was my first sex scene I've ever written for TV. And I mean, like the thing about it is like I can put the words on the page, but they bring it to life. And that like barking that Cynthia Nixon was doing during this, I mean, like incredible. I didn't go to set, like I don't care about going to set, so I didn't go to set. But like afterwards, like one of the other writers texted me and was like, wait until you see this. It was incredible. Yeah, it was so much fun. It's the best job. I have had so much fun. I mean, I haven't had a bad Hollywood job yet, knock on wood, but it's so fun, and it still is like a dream that I even get to work on this. You know what I mean? Like as a 19-year-old who was like watching the show on VHS, it's like bonkers that they let me write words for these characters.
It's awesome. Not only in like with that show, but it's with Shrill, like like you have a lot of shows under your belt already, and it's just amazing to be able to like watch these come to light. And I know for you, like you already said, like it's crazy that you're getting to work with this cast that you watched for so many years.
Yeah.
So now we're at the point of our conversation where we ask the top 5 question to all of our guests. And so you can pick which one you want to go. We can go with the traditional route. What are your top 5 favorite books of all time? Or what are the top 5 things that you are most excited about?
You mean in life or books?
Anything, whatever.
Okay. I'm gonna do things I'm most excited about. The books are too hard to narrow down, and then my friends will be like, you didn't say my book, and that's too tricky. I can't do that. Things I'm excited about. Billions is coming back, and Damian Lewis will be back on it this season. I'm very excited for that. I'm crazy excited for the new Mission Impossible. I already have my tickets. I would take a bullet for Tom Cruise. Can't wait to see that. Okay, that's 2 things. I'm excited. What am I excited about? Oh, we found a new like breakfast place that's not too far. I've been wanting like a little cutie breakfast place, and we went a couple days ago. I'm excited to go back there. I am also excited because my wife's sibling has been organizing my office, where I'm sitting right now, and which is a mess, and they've done an incredible job already, and it's only just the beginning, so I'm very excited about having a clean office. And number 5, I have some book projects to work on that are different from what I usually do, and I'm excited to like flex those muscles and try my hand at something else.
Well, there you go. We have the top 5. Samantha, thank you so much for sitting in this space with us. This has been I needed this conversation tonight. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. You guys are so great.
Yeah, thank you for coming, to the Little People podcast. Thank you for telling the world that Charlotte is the best person in Sex in the City.
100%.
Thank you.
100%. Did you watch And Just Like That from last week?
Yes.
Did you watch last week's episode?
Yes.
Charlotte is the best. Everybody acts so weird about her, but Carrie has her issues.
There's a couple
Miranda.
of
I mean, that's no shade on Sarah Jessica, who is amazing, but Carrie as the main character is sometimes it's like, girl, come on. And Charlotte, consistently perfect.
Yes.
Consistently just the best. Also, Kristen Davis is so fucking nice. They're all so nice. So nice that I'm like, is this a trick? Am I a Make-A-Wish kid? Why are you being so nice to me? They are the best. But Charlotte as a character, number one.
That's my homegirl.
I wrote 2 episodes this season, and in both of them, she has a hilarious storyline. So I'm very excited for you guys to see those.
That one drops tomorrow. The first of the 2, right?
Yeah, the first one's tomorrow, Halloween, and then number 7, which is Valentine's Day. I wrote Valentine's Day. So I hope you enjoy them. They're ridiculous.
I'm gonna be on the Max now. It's called the Max. I'm gonna be there waiting for it.
Right.
So on that note, we bid you adieu. You have a good rest of your night. Okay.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
We hoped you enjoyed our show.
Our show has been produced and edited by Preston Long. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast.
Our theme song you've been nodding your head to is by Sean Kantrowitz. You can follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Sean Dammit. That's SeanDammit.
Follow us on Instagram at The Vulgar Geniuses.
Bye!